Diesel engines that just won't quit. These are the relentless beasts at the heart of American trucks. We're talking about machines that have put in enough miles to circle the globe 20 times. 500,000 miles? No sweat. Today we're counting down the diesel engines that scoff at the junkyard. Engines that have earned legendary status by outlasting everything else on the road. First, we'll have the Ford 300 Inline 6. It's got the reputation for being bulletproof, and I mean that almost literally. They call it the tractor engine for a reason. This thing's all about durability and power where it counts, with only 7 main bearings and a single camshaft. It's about as straightforward as it gets. Less moving parts means fewer things that can go wrong. This engine didn't just find its home in the F-Series trucks. You'll find it in the Ford Econoline vans, industrial equipment, and even agricultural machinery. But what really sets it apart is that torque. With peak torque coming in as low as 1600 RPM, the Ford 300 Inline 6 was built to haul. Number 2, the Nissan VQ40DE V6 engine tick. Nissan isn't always the first brand you think of when you think of heavy-duty trucks, but this 4-liter V6 deserves some serious respect. Introduced back in 2005, this engine powers models like the Frontier, Xterra, and Pathfinder, delivering power that's rugged enough for work while being easy for maintenance. The VQ40DE is part of Nissan's award-winning VQ engine family. It features a 60-degree V6 configuration, which helps it strike the perfect balance between compact size and smooth operation. The engine's lightweight aluminum block and head saves weight. But this thing's built tough, with forged steel connecting rods and a micro-finish crankshaft. The block's ladder frame construction adds rigidity, a design often reserved for high-performance engines, giving this truck engine some extra muscle. Depending on the model, it churns out between 261 to 275 horsepower and offers 281 to 288 pounds-per-foot of torque, perfect for towing or hauling. It's also got continuous variable valve timing, or CVTC, on both the intake and exhaust cams, which adjust timing dynamically for better efficiency and performance across the rev range. In the reliability department, though, the VQ40DE generally holds its ground. Many of these engines can clock over 200,000 miles with no significant issues if they're properly maintained. Think of it as your trusty work boots that just need a little TLC now and then. Regular oil changes and timely repairs can see this engine pushing far beyond 200K, with some owners even reporting engines that are running smoothly at over 350,000 miles. Number 3, the GMC Duramax 6.6-liter V8 turbo diesel. The Duramax isn't just an engine, it's a long-distance partner that's ready to take on just about anything that you throw at it. I mean, 500,000 miles and still going strong? This engine has been the heart and soul of GMC Sierra and Chevy Silverado heavy-duty trucks since 2001, and there's a reason it earned that spot. So what makes the Duramax 6.6-liter so special? It's all about balance. The engine has an iron block for strength and aluminum heads to keep things lightweight. Then there's the 6 head bolts per cylinder, which isn't something you see every day. That setup keeps the head sealed up tight even when you're pushing some pretty high boost pressures. And let's talk about the brain of the operation, the Bosch Common Rail Injection System. It delivers fuel with pinpoint accuracy. Not only does that mean that the Duramax gets the job done more efficiently, but it also reduces wear, making this one of the most dependable engines on the market. Number 4, the Toyota 3-liter 3VZE V6. Now, some folks might think of this engine as the dad bod of powertrains. It's not the strongest or the fastest, but man, it is durable. The 3VZE powered Toyota trucks and 4Runners from 1988 to 1995, and though it's no match for the big American V8s in raw power, had something else going for it: reliability and longevity, as long as you treated it right. The 3VZE V6 uses a cast iron block, which is a classic recipe for durability. Paired with aluminum heads to save on weight, it strikes the balance between toughness and practicality. The low compression ratio, 9.0 to 1, means that it won't win any drag races, but that's precisely why it keeps going for hundreds of thousands of miles. This engine just doesn't push itself too hard. Keeping up with this maintenance routine is what separates the 3VZE engines that reach 300,000 miles and the ones that sputter out at half that distance. Number 5, the Dodge 5.9 LV8, also known as the Magnum V8. Now, if you've got a Ram 2500 or 3500 from back in the day, or even a Dakota from the late 90s or early 2000s, well, chances are you know exactly what I'm talking about. This engine is the reason that some of those trucks are still running strong past 350,000 miles. And it's all about the deep skirt design of the engine block. It's not just a fancy term. The deep skirt design gives the crankshaft a solid base to do its job, which means less vibration, less wear, and ultimately, more durability. Now, let's not forget the hydraulic roller camshaft. This setup reduces friction and wear compared to those old-school flat tappet designs, which means that it's not only built to perform, but this engine is built to do it without wearing itself down, like switching from running in flip-flops to running shoes, a whole lot more efficient with less pain involved. Number 6, the Chevrolet Small Block V8. This thing is basically the heart and soul of Chevy trucks. Now, you might have heard about it, you might even be driving one right now, but you know what makes it really damn good? Well, it's one of those engines that's been powering everything from hot sports cars to the trusty Silverado trucks. Chevy's small block is famous for two things: reliability and longevity. I'm talking 500,000 miles. It's got a compact design that keeps it cool under pressure. That compact size means less thermal stress, which in turn helps it last longer. Then you've got the pushrod design. Sure, it might sound a little old school compared to fancy overhead cams, but you know what they say: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Over the years, Chevy refined this engine, making tweaks here and there, but the basic design has stayed the same. They even improved the materials and manufacturing techniques. Number 7, Chevrolet 4.3-liter Vortec V6. It first showed up back in 1985, and from day one, it's all about reliability and practicality. Think of it as a 350 small block with 2 cylinders chopped off. And yes, that means it comes with the same legendary balance and smooth operation that made its bigger sibling a household name. That also means that if you've got a V8 Chevy lying around, maintenance on this guy becomes a lot simpler since they share a lot of parts. It's like having a family member you can swap shoes with. Makes life easier, right? One of the reasons this engine is such a legend is its build. The Vortec 4.3 features a cast iron block and heads, which, let's be real, is all about durability. Cast iron can take a beating, whether you're hauling loads in an S10, Silverado 1500, or GMC Canyon. I mean, this thing's been a workhorse for Chevy owners, with trucks running past 290,000 miles like it's no big deal. It might not win any drag races, but for the day-to-day grind, this engine is gold. Number 8, the Toyota 22R Inline 4. This 2.4-liter engine-powered Toyota trucks from 1981 all the way to 1995, and even found its way into the first generation of Tacomas in 1995 and 1996. It quickly became the go-to power plant for anyone who needed a truck that could just keep going and going and going, proving that Toyota could build trucks as tough as any American brand out there. The Toyota 22R earned a reputation for being practically bulletproof, and it's easy to see why. At its core, the 22R's simple inline-4 design is key for its legendary durability. The engine features a cast iron block paired with an aluminum head, a smart combination that strikes a balance between strength and weight saving. Plus, Toyota designed the timing chain to last the life of the engine, removing one of the most common failure points that you see in a lot of other engines. One of the biggest reasons why the 22R is so reliable is because Toyota kept things conservative. With 97 horsepower and a 129 pounds per foot of torque in its final iteration, this engine wasn't blowing off any doors at the drag strip, but it was going to get you where you needed to go, every time without fail. That modest tuning meant less stress on all other components, which is why with proper maintenance, these engines can just keep on going. Number 9. 7.3-liter Power Stroke diesel engine. From 1994 to 2003, this powerhouse was the beating heart of the Ford F-250 and F-350 Super Duty, not to mention the massive Excursion. It's all about reliability and over-engineering in the best way possible. The 7.3-liter Power Stroke wasn't just built to run, it was built to last. We're talking about 500,000 miles. It's the kind of engine where if you keep up with oil changes, it's going to keep chugging along, almost stubbornly refusing to quit. The secret? Ford and International Navistar, the masterminds behind the beast, threw all sorts of heavy-duty components into it. Forged steel connecting rods, a cast iron block, and heads tough enough to withstand pretty much anything a workday could throw at it. At 275 horsepower and 525 pounds per foot of torque in its prime, it's nowhere near today's power monsters. But here's the catch: sometimes less is more. This engine doesn't make enough power to hurt itself, which is precisely why it's still running strong decades later. What makes a 7.3-liter Power Stroke so appealing is that it isn't flashy or delivers mind-blowing numbers, but the fact that it works hard without complaint. It's got grits, guts, and it's built to last. And that's the kind of attitude that we love. Plus, it's one of the last diesel engines that didn't get bogged down by modern emission systems, giving it a sort of raw, old-school vibe that's not hard to admire. And number 10, the Cummins 6.7-liter turbo diesel. You're looking at an engine that's been known to hit 520,000 miles. That's like driving from New York to Los Angeles over 173 times. You'll find it in the Ram 2500 and 3500 models, and even in some heavy-duty rigs from Freightliner and Peterbilt. It's an inline-six design which keeps things simple and strong. The cast iron block and heads are built to take a beating. This thing can take enormous pressure without flinching. Plus, the gear-driven camshafts means that you don't have to worry about a timing chain or belt snapping on you. The Cummins 6.7-liter uses a high-pressure common rail fuel system, which is a fancy way of saying that it delivers power smoothly and effectively. But the engine's longevity wasn't like a happy accident or something. The engineers at Cummins designed it to keep going and going and going. The inline-six configuration isn't just for show, it's inherently well-balanced, which cuts down on the vibration and stress that you normally see in an engine that's constantly hauling heavy loads. Less vibration means fewer headaches and a longer lifespan for all the other components. So now that we've looked under the hood of the Cummins 6.7-liter turbo diesel, what do you think? Is this the kind of engine that you trust to take you across country and back again? And if you've got a secret for keeping your engine running like new, drop it in the comments. Let's share some wisdom, and we'll see you on our next video.